Sussex tactics are deadly. With his coronation move, King Charles II outwits Harry and Meghan. After Meghan and Harry's latest round of royal mudslinging via their Netflix series, the king has responded in an extremely surprising fashion. Good morning and thank you for tuning in to the Royal Family News Update. I am going to present you with an idea that may sound a little out there. King Charles is a tactical genius on par with the best of them. It's possible that our newly installed monarch will demonstrate his considerable strategic nous by avoiding the fate of Elizabeth I and the Prince Regent, who both failed to stop the Spanish Armada in 1588 and 1815, respectively, when they failed to keep that upstart Bonaparte on his side of the Channel. How? The king is said to have invited his son and daughter-in-law, Harry and Meghan, to his coronation in May. Nobody could possibly be unaware that the Sussexes' Netflix documentary, which took over a year, 2 directors, and a $140 million deal to produce, is the catalyst for this unexpected gesture. The biggest question leading up to the premiere of the first batch of episodes was how devastating the Sussexes' revelations would be to the monarchy and the House of Windsor. The tension mounted, and then we got a mishmash of saccharine home movies, mostly recycled accusations about the royal family's terrible ways, and the occasional valid point spread across 6 episodes. Instead of meeting a broadsword-wielding knight on the battlefield, the royal family was greeted by a wobbling chevalier who smelled of ale and was riding a mule. Even if the trip wasn't as disastrous as everyone had feared, Harry and Meghan's presence has once again bogged down the royal family in the melodrama of Megxit and the never-ending postmortem of how one of the king's sons ended up living next door to Katy Perry and not in Windsor. Once the final batch of episodes aired, all eyes turned to Charles and Buckingham Palace to see their response to the Sussexes' primetime offensive. The Fleet Street clucking got louder and louder as various British publications began publishing stories speculating on whether titles should be stripped. After a long lunch and in the mood for a new wife, like Henry VIII, would the king come out swinging? Oh no. But the Telegraph says Charles will invite the Sussexes to his coronation instead. A source told the paper, all members of the family will be welcome, though formal invitations have not yet been sent out. The ball is in Harry and Meghan's court now. The brilliant no-response response from the palace directly contradicts the Sussexes' portrayal of the royal family as a ruthless bunch hellbent on the survival of the monarchy at any cost. Even though his younger son now appears to make a living attacking the monarchy, Charles still wants him to be a part of his coronation. While Harry's claim that William screamed and shouted at him or briefed the press against him and Meghan or Charles having said things that just simply weren't true isn't entirely neutralized by this invitation move, it does go a long way toward making the royal family look like magnanimous and warm-hearted royal people, willing to be the much bigger people and to look past that Netflix nonsense. In fact, the first volume of Harry and Meghan has already been released, and the Telegraph reports that the king will mention the Sussexes in his first Christmas speech as monarch. There was no desire to make any changes to his carefully considered message in the wake of the increasingly ferocious attacks, the same report said, even after the final episodes aired. Beyond surprising some by including the Sussexes in next year's big day, the palace has employed a Sun Tzu-worthy strategy. Nothing at all. The palace has only said no comment, and they reportedly have no plans to change that position. A courtier has been quoted as saying in the Sunday Times, "We are deliberately keen to send a message by being voiceless. It is our responsibility to get things done. Responding isn't the point." A shrugging royal source told the Telegraph, "The plan is to keep calm and carry on. It's very distressing and very tiring, but it's not going to distract them from the work," he said. As Hurricane Sussex raged on Friday, Charles was celebrating Hanukkah at a Jewish community centre in London with Anne Frank's stepsister. However, some members of the royal family have publicly criticised the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, with one insider telling The Times that the couple overplayed their hand quite badly. "They've used up all their bullets, but they keep using the same ones. What else can they possibly rely on to make money if not this narrative of victimhood?" the source asked. His Majesty's friend has spoken out about the Sussexes' show, telling The Times, "It's not as damaging to the monarchy as we feared. People with common sense will see it for what it is: egocentric, unfair, and exploitative. It will become increasingly obvious what a sleazy, contemptible waste of time it was as time goes on." The Windsors and their circle of advisors are not yet out of the woods, but that hasn't stopped them from heading to the drawing room for a swift snifter. It was also stated in that same Sunday Times article that Harry's autobiography, Spare, includes claims about the monarchy that are more incendiary than those made in the Netflix series. To what extent, if at all, will the palace be able to maintain its current position in the face of a new wave of potentially damning claims? We're almost into a new year, but it looks like Charles and company will still be dealing with the same old issues. Perhaps the time to celebrate this new era of leadership is now, before its luster begins to fade. Meanwhile, let's ignore for the time being the fact that Prince Harry depicts our late Queen as a senile old lady unable to speak or think clearly. That his father, Prince Charles, was called a bald-faced liar by his son. The attack he launched against his brother William was the most devastating one first saw from him. No one here can begin to fathom the unfathomable anguish the young princes must have felt after the death of their mother, Princess Diana. For a long time, the brothers' shared grief brought them closer together. The loss of their mother brought them together, and the knowledge that no matter what challenges they faced, they could always count on each other's support. How could Harry, after all they've been through, publicly shatter those brotherly bonds, saying that William shouted and screamed at him, that he only married for protocol and not love, and that he betrayed and abandoned him and Meghan? Just so the Sussexes can collect their 30 Netflix silver dollars. To raise your voice to your sibling is not a major sin. Having yelled at my younger brother more times than I care to remember, I feel bad admitting that we do what most families do afterward. We ignore each other, get angry, and finally forgive. Something bad will happen if you don't comply. Losing a brother is very painful. I know this firsthand because my older brother Michael passed away nearly 30 years ago. The pain will last forever. For the rest of your life, you'll feel like something's missing, and it will be the shared experiences and the banter and silly stories that were told over and over again at family gatherings. One cannot simply replace them. It's because of this that I worry so much about Harry as he cruelly severs his relationship with William. That special bond between siblings can never be replaced, not even by a beautiful wife and adorable offspring. Moreover, there is no race involved. To imply he had to pick between his new family with Meghan and the royal family is deeply offensive. If Diana were still with us today, she'd be ashamed. The happiness of their children is every parent's top priority, and this is true even if the new family is complicated and the in-laws don't always see eye to eye. I tell Harry to treasure his brother always because he's with him through thick and thin. The death of a loved one is the most tragic thing that can happen to a person. In the same way, how about you? Have we got your agreement? Share your thoughts with me in the space provided below, and we can discuss them further. Feel free to like and share my video with anyone who enjoys it whenever you think it would be helpful or appropriate. In addition, if you'd like to stay up to date with our staff's latest developments, we ask that you subscribe to our Royal Family News Update. Now, I'd like to say thank you for watching, hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video.